If you've been following the forecast, you know it really couldn't get much worse. And finally, we've got some good news. We'll show you the changes that are working in our favor. Coming up, Karen.
Also, first at 4, Republican lawmakers add to the legal pressure on Governor Whitmer. Why they say they had to take her to court. And if we didn't have the video, you probably wouldn't have believed the claims against this man. The possible jail time for a man accused of wiping his nose on a store employee. Paula.
She passed away after living 110 glorious years, but COVID is now changing her dying wishes. This story is coming up.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, we are following the impact of the coronavirus from Lansing to the auto industry to the city of Detroit. State Republicans are taking the governor to court over her latest state of emergency. The legal battle comes as cases of COVID-19 are still on the rise. Today, the state added 657 cases to the total, which is up to more than 45,000. Also, more than 4,200 people have now lost their battle with the virus. From the auto industry, General Motors has now confirmed it also hopes to open its U.S. and Canadian factories on May 18th. Tomorrow, construction, real estate, and outdoor workers can go back to work. In Detroit, Mayor Mike Duggan is working to get more testing so people can get back to work safely. He says he has a clear plan.
Every single person who is working in a job in Detroit can get tested now. Or if you're about to go back to work in a job, and a number of the auto companies are doing that. So if we can be in the 1,500 to 2,000 test a day range, I think we can safely get our folks back to work.
Now back to the new legal challenge facing Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Republican lawmakers are battling to rein in her powers during the COVID-19 crisis and other emergencies in the future. Devin Skillian in the newsroom this afternoon with the very latest. Devin.
Well, Karen, this is the second legal action filed this week. This suit totally separate from the one filed by Republican Congressman Paul Mitchell. That battle is in federal court. Today's action, Republican leaders argue that Governor Whitmer has acted beyond her authority by extending the coronavirus state of emergency without legislative approval. On the other hand, the governor says a law from 1945 gives her the authority to do exactly that. Republicans vigorously disagree. They want the judicial branch to have its say.
It is our firm belief that that law does not give the power to the governor to rule the entire state on their own for as long as they like, and today we are asking the courts to affirm our opinion.
Republican leaders have asked for an expedited hearing, but they believe this could end up going to the state Supreme Court. Governor Whitmer's office is telling us this is not the time to be playing political games. Right now, her current stay-at-home order remains in effect still throughout May 15th. The emergency declaration was the one that she wanted extended through the end of the month. The stay-at-home order, again, just another 9 days or so. More on this battle coming up tonight on Local 4 News at 5. Karen, we'll see you then.
All right, we'll see you at 5, Devin. And you can follow the new developments like this legal battle by using the Click on Detroit app. This alert went out this morning, so you'll know the very latest as it's happening. You can also find Click on Detroit wherever you download your apps. A man accused of wiping his nose on a dollar store employee is facing misdemeanor assault and battery charges. 68-year-old Rex Gomel went before a judge this morning. Investigators say Gomel wiped his nose on a woman at the Dollar Tree in Holly on Saturday after she told him he had to wear a mask. He has been placed on home confinement and can only leave for trips to the grocery store, court appearances, or potential medical issues. He faces 3 months in jail. The warm weekend has many people switching on that air conditioning for the first time, but some are wondering this afternoon, is that really a good idea? Our Dr. Frank McGeorge joins us to address concerns about AC and the coronavirus.
Several viewers have asked if it's safe to turn on their home air conditioners or to open their windows. Both are safe. There is no concern about the virus coming into your house that way. But what about air conditioning units in public places like restaurants? Well, that's actually still being studied. There is one published report out of China where one diner is believed to have infected people at 2 other tables. Take a look. The infected diner is marked A1. The other red circles represent people who also got sick. Researchers say they believe the restaurant air conditioning unit may have spread the virus farther than it would have normally traveled, and that poor ventilation in the space also played a role. Now, this needs to be studied more, but it's a good example example of why increasing the space between tables and workspaces is really important, and limiting the number of people in a room is helpful too. Now, the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers has created a task force to look at the issue of air conditioners. For now, the organization is recommending business owners make sure air conditioning systems are functioning properly, that they improve ventilation by bringing more outside air in, they upgrade air filters, and follow the CDC recommendations for social distancing and good hygiene. Back to you.
Well, you may remember this beautiful lady from a story that we did back in January. That's when Lois Holden was given a huge celebration for her 110th birthday. Sadly, she died this week. Adding to her family's grief is the struggle to plan a fitting funeral during the current pandemic. Paula Tutman joins us this afternoon. Paula, it is really tough right now to honor such a life well lived.
Oh, Karen, it really is. You know, when I met her in January, it certainly seemed like she could live forever. She was so vibrant and lively and healthy. I mean, gosh, she outlived her life insurance policy by 10 years. But I just think in this climate, her death is still so incredibly painful, twice as much to her family. At 110 years old, she was still going strong.
That's what makes the world go round, love.
A pioneer for Motown Records in the gospel group, the Great Gospel Stars.
He's still on you as his child. Oh, why not?
She could still belt it out when she was singing for the Lord.
Oh, why not?
Her parents were born free in the time of slavery. She was born only 45 years after the abolishment of slavery. Despite humble beginnings, she lived a huge life, sharp of mind, knowing she had more life behind her than in front of her. Recently, she began planning her own funeral. She called it a going home celebration.
She had everything figured out. She said, this is the suit I want to wear. This is the color I want to wear.
And she wanted to ride in the Swanson's hearse Aretha Franklin was in.
She said the hearse was gorgeous. One day, if you can, I would love to have that hearse as my last go-round.
But after a brief non-COVID related illness, she passed away Monday.
We were talking and she just said, okay, sweetie, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now.
She had the glory to live with 5 generations of her own making. She survived her son, had 2 grandchildren, 4 greats, 6 great-greats, and 2 great-great-great-grandchildren, and legions of friends and extended family members. And her dying wish was that everyone stay safe, which means today her family struggles with keeping Grandma's wishes to keep everyone safe and keeping everyone distant, which means a life that deserves a send-off instead will be stripped down to the basics of a virtual funeral with few people present.
My grandmother was real big in the church. And that's the hardest part, that she was so faithful in the church, and I can't have her funeral at a church. I have to have it in. That's the heartbreakingest part, that she doesn't deserve that, but I have to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, you know, that is so incredibly difficult for this family, but they do say that they will try to have a big celebration and memorial when it is safe to do so. Karen?
I remember the story when this aired back in January. Paula, you meet so many interesting people. What set Lois apart for you as you talked to her and got to get to know her?
Oh, I love that question. Do you know what? This was one of my favorite stories. I know I did it in January. Most people know that I just love older people. It was her vibrancy and the fact that she could still sing and talk and knew what was going on. And it really did feel like she could live so much longer.
You know, such sad news to share. All right. Thank you, Paula. We really appreciate it. We do have other news to share with you first at 4. Today, traffic nightmares are set to resume with the closing of what's commonly known as the Free Bridge over in Grosse Ile. It last closed back in November for emergency repairs. Today, the bridge closed again as crews will work on a permanent fix. The bridge is 90 years old and may not reopen until December. There's another project already underway at the Jefferson Avenue Bridge, which will take another week. Now, back on Monday, the whole week looked kind of disappointing after that beautiful, awesome weekend. But today, it looks pretty good out there. Let's bring in Ben. I guess we were just worried it was going to be so darn cold, but it was nice this afternoon.
Yes, now it is, Karen, but the so darn cold is still in the forecast. We're going to get there over the weekend. But in the meantime, there are some things that are actually working in our favor. Today's one of them. Temperatures actually have managed to hit the 60s in some spots in the area. As we look at those current temperatures, 60 at Metro, 57 though in Lapeer and Sandusky, and the cool spot is 55 in Port Huron. So as we get later into tonight, we expect these temperatures to drop, but we will be seeing at least mostly clear skies tonight. Mid-40s in the metro zone by midnight. Yes, there's still record cold in the forecast, but leading up to that, the rain and snow chances look lighter. And can we squeeze in some more sun before that all happens? We'll look at that coming up for you in just a few minutes. Karen.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ben. Still ahead, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg shows us once again she is that unstoppable force. We'll talk about what she's doing from her hospital bed. Also, back to school during a pandemic, the new rules, including a plan to evacuate classrooms. We'll tell you what would trigger that emergency plan. And later, remember, this bundle of joy, I should say royal joy. That was our first glimpse of Prince Harry's son. Wait until you see how he's growing. A first birthday video and trending stories.